Hey YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So I found this very interesting article that was penned by a guy called Richard Kay for the Daily Mail, and he was talking about the severance between Harry and Meghan and the UK following their payment, their full payout for Frogmore Cottage. And what he basically said in this letter was that although Meghan Markle's divorce from the UK is finalised, there is still a lot of bitterness and resentment that has been essentially etched into the hearts of the British UK taxpayer regarding Meghan and Harry and how they left the country and what they have done. Resentment is still reeking out from the pores of the public. We are still not happy, even though we got our money back, because of the way in which our money was taken in the first place and the way in which it's been handed back. We have been swatted away like an unwanted fly at Meghan and Harry's 5-star dinner table. So the article is titled "All Pretense is Gone, Harry and Meghan Have No Royal Future, and the couple's $3 million check for Frogmore Cottage means their divorce from Britain is final." So he goes on to say, for more than a year it's been the milestone around Prince Harry's neck, a gold-plated slice of taxpayers' largesse that reeked of privilege and entitlement. But to Harry and Meghan, to £2.4 million of public money, our money that was lavished on renovating Frogmore Cottage, only for it to be shuttered and abandoned along with the rest of their royal lives, represented something far more intrinsic. He saw it as a chain that shackled them to the land of his birth, inhibiting their efforts to be truly free of the royal family and, crucially, of their media critics. In his eyes, the money was not a loan from a generous nation pleased to be helping this young royal couple find its feet after their royal wedding, but rather a stick with which to beat them. So, paying back every penny to the public purse, having previously offered to do so at the rate of £18,000 a month, a deal of such indulgence it would have taken them 11 years to repay the debt, is highly significant. In the short term, it is designed to silence the drumbeat of criticism to which they perceive they are subject. But will it really end what they complain of as unjustified public interest in their new lives? And this is it. I don't think it will end the public's interest in what it is they're exactly doing, because we are very much aware of their abuse of their royal titles and the commercialization. No royal couple has ever really gotten away with doing this in the past. We know Sarah Ferguson and Prince Andrew tried to do it. Prince Edward and Sophie tried to do this, and they didn't really achieve it. And then obviously we have Harry's late mother Diana, who didn't really commercialize her royal status, but she definitely started feeding the royal family to the media, and the media were very much involved with what Diana was doing, where she was going, who she was dating, and she turned into more of an A-list celebrity as opposed to a former member of the royal family, following her finalised divorce from Charles. I'm going to carry on here with the letter, and he says, surely by embarking on such a high-profile life in the entertainment capital of the world, where every resource is choreographed for maximum publicity, such a move raises more questions than answers. It can be no coincidence that this remarkable gesture comes just days after it was revealed that the couple had signed a production deal with Netflix estimated to be worth £75 million. Many will wonder if this payment to the sovereign grant was part of the first instalment of that extraordinary deal. But while royal officials were digesting the implications, another equally buoyed announcement was being released by the Duke and Duchess. A source close to the couple confirmed that they were no longer receiving financial support from Harry's father, the Prince of Wales, either from the Duchy of Cornwall or his private income. This too marks a fork in the road for Harry and Meghan, although insiders suggest they may already have received the full amount of the stipend they expected from Charles for this year anyway, and I agree with that. I do think that Charles has already coughed up anyway, and they was not going to ask him for any more money. He wasn't going to give them any more money this year, and we know that their ties with the royal family will be reviewed next year, January. Come March, it will be under review as to how they performed and what they've done with their newfound royal status, which is pretty obvious. What it does do, however, is signal that their divorce from Britain is permanent, while removing any pretense that they might still have a future role in the royal family. Harry could, of course, have avoided this whole sorry saga before it ever became an issue. With an estimated fortune of £20 million inherited from his mother's estate and trust funds from the Queen Mother, he could have afforded to pay for the renovation himself. And he could have. Why was he so determined to use the money from the public as opposed to using his own income to finance his newly found love life with his wife? So it carries on to say, when he failed to understand then, and probably still doesn't now, is not that there was public resentment at the cost of refurbishing Frogmore, but that the public felt cheated when Harry chose to keep secret details about son Archie's birth and christening, which they did do. They didn't really want us to know what day exactly Archie was born, who his godparents were, etc. And it was all very weird because it was almost as though they were, like I said, they were swatting us away like a fly at their dinner table, even though we were financing so much. We wasn't really getting the normal access that we get to members of the royal family, because essentially they are public servants. So I'm going to carry on here. It sent the message that they were happy to take public money for granted, but not if it meant having to share things with the public they didn't want to, says a courtier. Ever since, it has become more and more toxic. For now, questions remain about how the money has been repaid and who knew about it. Royal Age suggests that although the timing had come as a surprise, it was not entirely unexpected. Harry has been determined to emphasise that his and Meghan's lack of reliance on British taxpayer funds by first meeting the cost of their substantial security bill and now by paying back the sovereign grant. They believe it will remove what they consider to be media intrusion on their lives, but criticism of the lavish renovations of Frogmore Cottage have hardly been confined to the media. At the weekend, Sir Geoffrey Clifton Brown, Deputy Chairman of Parliament's Public Accounts Committee, noted, "Clearly anyone who has borrowed taxpayers' cash needs to pay it back as quickly as possible. 2.4 million is a lot, and even if you paid back £250,000 a year, it would still take a decade." Harry may see his newfound wealth, which has allowed him to pay back the money, as gaining liberty and escaping his critics, but it may have unforeseen consequences. While his father contributed to Harry and Meghan's life, there was still a link, however tenuous, anchoring him to his country and his family. Without it, Harry may find himself more adrift than ever. And I think that he really did make an important, vital point. With Harry weakening the tie and the connection between himself, his father, and the rest of the members of the royal family, he doesn't really have much of a purpose. That's all he's ever really been, is a privileged child from the British Royal Institution and Princess Diana's son, Prince Charles's son. That's it. That's what he's known for. His royal legacy Once he cuts that away, will the Americans really be interested in him? Are they even really interested in him now? I don't think that their names will be worth much by the time the 5-year contract comes to an end. Another lady covered the payment of Frogmore Cottage, and she is called a Rebecca English, and she's real editor for the Daily Mail, and she's gone on about them making this payment, etc, etc, and what she says is the 2.4 million in public money that was used to convert Frogmore from what had been 5 small staff cottages into a larger country home for the couple has been a particular bone of contention since they quit as working royals in January. Critics had argued that not only should the cash be refunded in full after their move to California, they should also forfeit their right to even live at Frogmore, which was given to them by the Queen. Those calls intensified after they recently bought an £11 million 9-bedroom, 16-bathroom mansion in Montecito, Santa Barbara, with a £7.5 million mortgage. So I was unsure as to whether they really did have a mortgage on this place, but it seems as though they do have a mortgage on this place, which kind of makes sense. If Harry is only worth £20 million, we know Meghan is now worth absolutely nothing because she spent most of her money on clothes. She didn't really come into the marriage with much anyway. She was worth allegedly about £3 million, but I think it was probably closer to 1.5 at most. And that was all tied up in real estate. She's worth absolutely nothing. And then they wanted to live large and do it big and do it lavishly. Charles was giving them their set amount every year, which was rumoured to be around £2 million a year from the Duchy of Cornwall. So where Harry could dip into his savings, but he didn't even want to do that for Frogmore Cottage. This new highly visible media role that he is seeking in the US makes him more of a public figure than ever, and that is true. We will continue to talk about the Harry and the Meghan. We will continue to cast our opinions on them, whether they like it or not. I'll be back with another video, guys, and I will keep up the updates. Bye.